Hey, what's up, guys? It's Sports Blitz here, and we're back with another NFL mock draft. Before I get into it, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. I am going to do 3 rounds today. We will be including trades. None of these trades are like pre-planned out. It's all going to be based off how the board falls, how I'm feeling, during, you know, certain spots in the draft. So, got all teams selected, got 3 rounds selected. Let's go ahead and go on in. So, starting off, I'm going to go ahead and have the Titans, keep their first overall pick here. I'm gonna have them take Cam Ward. I do think there's a possibility that maybe they trade it to like the Giants. Maybe they want to go up for Cam Ward, but I don't think it's crazy likely. I think it's more likely they keep it. The Cleveland Browns, I was kind of thinking earlier. I'm like, with Abdul Carter right here, you could probably see quite a few teams offering the Browns some good trade offers. And really, like, I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world for the Browns to explore, especially where, I mean, they're going to be entering a rebuild pretty intensely coming up because, you know, obviously Deshaun Watson's not even going to be playing probably at all this year. So they're going to need a quarterback. He's probably not even the answer at all. They're probably going to be losing Myles Garrett. They need help in really a lot of areas. So really, if they get the right offer, I could see them trading away this pick and getting more draft capital. I'm gonna go ahead and have them keep it right here. So I'm gonna have them take Abdul Carter. Also, one thing with this trade simulator, you can't trade players. So I can't really do the Myles Garrett trade here or anything. Though I do think a team like the Bills or even Eagles are my two favorite suitors for Garrett. But here for the Giants, I'm gonna go ahead and have them take. I think I'm gonna have them take Travis Hunter today. I don't know. Kind of the sense I get is I don't really believe they're super high on Shedeur Sanders. I just don't know that I really see that fit. Plus, me personally, I'm not that high on Shedeur Sanders either. I mean, I get that quarterbacks always go higher than projected, but I mean, if I were any of these teams in the top 10, I wouldn't take him in the top 10. But he's probably going to go in that range because teams always reach on quarterbacks, you know. So, anyways, Giants take Travis Hunter today. I think he's a great like multi-position playing player for the Giants cuz really they could use a little bit extra receiver help too cuz I mean, right now obviously they have Malik Neighbors, but they're probably going to lose Darius Slayton in free agency. And they're going to need a little bit extra help there too. And really for me, I feel like Travis Hunter's going to come in and mainly play corner, but then we'll probably get anywhere from 10 to 15, maybe some games as high as like 20 snaps at wide receiver a game. I think it's going to be dependent on how the flow of the game goes. But anyways, I think that's a good spot for Travis Hunter. I think the Giants will use him well there. For the Patriots, I mean, I don't understand it. I've had plenty of Patriots fans tell me, no, we do not want Tedoroa McMillan. I don't understand it. I think he's a fantastic prospect. I think they'd be kind of dumb to pass up on him. So I'm having them take Tedoroa McMillan. I mean, get Drake May as much help as possible. I really can't understand why Patriots fans wouldn't want him. But it is what it is. So For this next one, I'm actually going to do the first trade. And there's probably going to be some fans of both teams out there that don't particularly love this. So I'm going to have the Panthers trade up 3 spots with the Jaguars. I think for this little, trade, I don't think it's going to take a whole lot to trade up. So I'm going to have the Panthers offer their 4th this year and then a 4th next year. Okay, so that's still saying it's not enough. So we'll remove the 4th for next year and offer next year's 3rd instead. Okay, and that's accepted. So essentially pick 110, next year's 3rd. I think for 3 spots in this sort of thing, I think that's pretty solid value. Maybe the Jags ask for a little bit more. I don't know, maybe you could throw in like a pick swap or something there. You know, I don't know, maybe you throw in like 113 and ask for 125 back. In fact, yeah, let's do that. Throw in 113, ask for 125 back. I think that's pretty reasonable value. But anyways, the guy who I'm having the Panthers come up for right here, a lot of you are going to be expecting Mason Graham. I'm actually having them take Will Johnson. He's been a guy that I've watched a lot more these last couple weeks, and I think he absolutely should go top 5 in the draft. I've seen him fall on a lot of these mock drafts. Like, I've even seen him fall out of the top 10 for a lot of other people's mock drafts, and I don't understand it. He is an amazing corner, very physical. Honestly, I actually see a lot of J.C. Horn in him. So if the Panthers can essentially just get another J.C. Horn and extend J.C. Horn, I mean, that's going to be a pretty dang good corner duo. I know fans are going to talk about need and this and that, but in the draft, you just take good players that can help your team. And Will Johnson can absolutely help the Panthers. So, then for the Raiders, let me think here. I think I'm going to go ahead and actually have another trade here. And this is probably another one that fans are probably going to hate me for. But we're going to have San Francisco, the 49ers, move up with the Raiders. Obviously, normal pick swap. For 5 spots here, I think it'll take the later of the Niners' 3rd round picks. And then let's also say, so they don't have a 5th, maybe the 4th rounder as well. Okay, this is still saying that's not enough. So we'll go ahead and undo that. Let's try the earlier 3rd rounder then. Okay, so that's saying it's accepted. I think the Raiders still may want a little bit more, so I am still going to include that later 4th round pick. So they essentially pick up an early 3rd and then a 4th rounder. Trade goes through, and no, the Niners are not coming up for an offensive lineman. They're coming up for Mason Graham. I think this absolutely really helps that D-line significantly. I would not be surprised at all if they lose Javon Hargrave in free agency. And really, at that point, I just feel like that interior D-line really needs a lot of help. And really, like, I know fans are, going to be yelling, like, we need offensive line help too, and that, but this is a good off-season to need help in the trenches. It really is. I mean, you could honestly see the Niners maybe, and I don't know what their cap space situation is, so ignore the ignorance there. But if they have the cap space, you could see them go after maybe a guy like Trey Smith, or even like in the second round. I'm sure a guy like Tate Ratledge would still be available. May be able to see Josh Connerly depending on how far he falls. Like, there's going to be guys available for the Niners in the second round. Why not get an absolute stud of a prospect with the sixth overall pick? So, this kind of puts the Jets in a tough spot here. They're kind of in a spot now that's like, okay, well, we were depending on Will Johnson or Mason Graham here. Now both of them are gone. So I think at that point, it's between three players. I think it's going to be between Will Campbell, Michael Williams, sorry, and Tyler Warren. I feel like Aaron Glenn, being the defensive mind that he is going to want to, build that defense the way he likes. So maybe he goes after Michael Williams. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I know a lot of people, try to knock him and say, he didn't produce very much at Georgia. He he needs a lot of development and everything, and you could argue the development thing for all of these prospects, okay? Michael Williams was injured for basically the whole season at Georgia. I mean, you look at just his tape alone, okay? The sack numbers aren't everything. You watch his actual tape, he's getting in the quarterback's face a lot. He is a very, very solid run defender, which the Jets definitely need. Jets could definitely use a lot of help in defending the run, and Michael Williams is going to help with that quite a bit. So, then for the Jacksonville Jaguars, so I'm actually going to have them take who I've mentioned on this channel before is my favorite player in the draft. Not necessarily the best player in the draft, but my favorite player, Jalen Walker out of Georgia. Dude can just do everything. All right, like he can do everything. I mean, he's not gonna come in and be a full-time edge rusher. He's not gonna be a full-time off-ball linebacker, inside linebacker, whatever. He's going to have split reps in all spots, and it's gonna be very dependent on the flow of the game and where the defensive coordinator, you know, feels like he'll help the most in each game. And Walker's just he's going to help that defense significantly. He is an amazing player. The Saints on the board now. And I'm actually going to go ahead and have them take Tyler Warren here. With them getting Kellen Moore as their head coach, I could definitely see them really trying to clean up that offense quite a bit. And Tyler Warren would be an absolute home run pick at tight end. And that'd help quite a bit. For the Chicago Bears, I'm going to go ahead and go with Ashton Genty here. I still think Will Campbell is a very strong possibility and would be a really good idea because, protect Caleb, give whoever the running back would be, if not Ashton Genty, better lanes to run with. But, I mean, it's sorry. It's Ben Johnson here. I mean, let's not forget when he was with the Lions, he took Jahmyr Gibbs 12th overall, and again, we were all kind of laughing at that before, we're not laughing at that anymore. It's shown to be a really, really good pick for them. So why not take a swing on Genty right here, where they need a running back anyways? So for the Las Vegas Raiders, I'm gonna have them take really who I was going to have them take at 6 anyways, but instead they get some extra draft capital too. Shador Sanders. I mentioned before, I do think so. If the Raiders don't trade out of this pick and they stay there, I think he still goes at 6. He just kind of feels like it's gonna be, you know, the Raiders pick, you know? I mentioned before, like with the Giants, it doesn't seem to me like they're super interested in him. Honestly, the sense I get is if they can't pull off a trade to go get Cam Ward, I kind of feel like they'd be more interested in like Jackson Dart. And I can't really blame them for that. I really like Jackson Dart. I think he's a pretty solid prospect. I don't think he's a first rounder. I think they could absolutely get him, you know, for their spot in the second round. Maybe in the second round, maybe they want to trade up a little bit, like maybe to like the very end of the first round. I don't know, depending on what they have to give up. But I definitely think it'd be worth it for them, you know, to wait on quarterback right there and go get Dart. But anyways, Shador Sanders really just feels like he's going to be a Raider. For the Dallas Cowboys here, I am going to... I'm actually going to have another trade going on here. Alright, we're going to have the Atlanta Falcons. Sorry if you guys can hear any sound outside. I got my window open and the apartment complex is shoveling snow right now with their yeah, whatever. So sorry if you hear that background noise. Hopefully it's not too loud, but anyways, got Atlanta trying to come up for the number 12 pick. I don't think it's really going to take that much. I really don't. Yeah, this is saying the 4th will be enough. I'm going to say maybe also throw in pick like their 7th round pick. I think something like that would be pretty realistic here. I'm having Atlanta come up for James Pierce. I think you could also... Well, actually, I might go through with that other option. I don't know, because I'm thinking between James Pierce and Mike Green. I really like Mike Green a lot as a prospect. I think he is insanely explosive off the edge. James Pierce, like, yeah, he had a fair amount of production. And I think with some good development, he'd be pretty dang good. But I don't think he's really quite as explosive off the edge as Mike Green. So I'm kind of thinking, Falcons fans, you can let me know what you would actually prefer here. I think for me, for my rankings, I'd actually go Mike Green here. I think he's the more explosive player. And I don't know. I'm sure people are going to be telling me, you know, they don't need to trade up for him, and that may be true, but listen, after the combine here in a couple weeks, he is going to get himself into, honestly, talks for the top 10, for a top 10 pick. He is going to make a lot of noise. He already made a lot of noise with the Senior Bowl. The combine's going to raise his stock even more. I would not be surprised if Mike Green goes in the top 10. So Falcons would definitely be smart to go get him. For the Dolphins, I'm going to go ahead and have them take Malachi Starks right here. In one of my past mock drafts, I actually had the Bengals trade up to go get Starks. And this is exactly why I had the Bengals trade up ahead of the Dolphins. I do not think Starks falls past the Dolphins here. I really don't. He is too good of a player that, I mean, even if he does, I don't see him falling past even Indianapolis right there. I mean, he's too good of a player. And honestly, we could see the Dolphins possibly losing Javon Holland in free agency. So, yeah, I don't know. I think this is a home run pick for the Dolphins. And a pretty easy pick to, put out there too. For the Indianapolis Colts, I think I'm gonna go ahead. Cause I mean, really, like right here for the Colts, I would usually go either Tyler Warren or Malachi Starks. They're both off the board at this point. I think we probably just reach a little bit and go for Colston Loveland out of Michigan. I think he's honestly about any other year, you know, besides this year and last year, where last year had Brock Bowers, this year has Tyler Warren. Any other year, he would be the designated, tight end one of the draft. So I think this is still a really good pick for Indy. Again, maybe a little bit high for a tight end, but I mean, even then, even if he didn't go there, you can see him going pick 20 to Denver. So it's not that crazy of a reach. For me, for the Dallas Cowboys, really I had them mainly trade back because Ashton Genty wasn't there anymore. Well, now that they're at 15, I think they could more reasonably take Omarion Hampton here out of North Carolina. He's another guy that I don't see go in the first round very often, but I could absolutely see, making it into the first round. I think he's another guy that the Combine is going to do a lot of good for. So, I mean, it kind of feels like another, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs sort of situation where before, like, Bijan Robinson, for example, was, a certified, like, designated, he is going in the first round and he is going early in the first round sort of thing. And that's how Ashton Genty is this year. Okay? But then, I mean, that year we were expecting Jahmyr Gibbs to be an early second rounder, or at the very least, like a very late first rounder. And I think that's what people are expecting this year with Omarion Hampton. Now, I'm not saying Hampton's going to come in and produce like Jahmyr Gibbs has. That's pretty lofty, pretty high expectations there. But he's going to be a real good player. He's going to be really, really good for whoever drafts him. So I think it's worth it for Dallas to do that, especially off a trade down like that. They recouped a fourth and a seventh rounder. I say take the swing. For the Cardinals here, I'm going to have them take Will Campbell. I think this is just kind of getting into the territory of there's no shot he falls farther than this. Really, like, even falling out of the top 10 would be absurd. So, does this really happen? Probably not. He probably doesn't even fall this far. But in this case, since he did, the Cardinals absolutely have to take him. Like, it's impossible to pass on him at that point. For the Bengals, I'm going to go ahead and have them take James Pierce out of Tennessee. Now, I know this is kind of one of those spots, again, that the Falcons fans are probably going to be like, well, why'd you have us trade up if James Pierce is going to last past our pick? Well, again, that's kind of the Mike Green situation of he's going to raise his stock so significantly with the combine. I think the Falcons front office is going to have a real hard time passing on him, and they're going to realize, hey, we can't just, sit on our hands and wait for him to fall to us. We got to go get him. And I think that's a very, very real possibility right here. So then for the Seattle Seahawks, I'm going to go ahead and have them take Calvin Banks out of Texas. This is kind of another situation that, like, I don't know how realistic it really is that Banks falls this far. I do think he probably falls into the teens, but I don't know quite about 18. Really, I could see him going to the Cardinals at pick 16 if Will Campbell really does go as early as we expect. So this would be another home run pick for Seattle. If Banks isn't here, I mean, I absolutely love either Josh Simmons or Tyler Booker going to them. I think there's a lot of really good O-line options there. I think people are kind of writing off Tyler Booker a lot more than they should. I think he is a fantastic guard, and really whoever ends up with him, it's going to significantly help their O-line, regardless of who they currently have. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I am going to go ahead and give them Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M. I don't think I really need to explain that one, very much. They need some edge help, some pass rush help, and Shamar Stewart is really the best available option. I mean, unless they wanted to trade back and maybe get Jack Sawyer. I have Jack Sawyer graded higher than Nick Scorton, so, I mean, unless they wanted to trade back and maybe land him, Shamar Stewart's the best available option there at edge. I think it makes the most sense. For the Broncos here, I'm going to go ahead and give them Luther Burden out of Missouri. Again, that's another one I don't think I need to explain. I think it makes perfect sense right there. For the Steelers, I'm going to go ahead and have them take Emeka Egbuka. That's another one that, like, they desperately need wide receiver help, especially if they do end up moving on from George Pickens, like the rumors have said this offseason. I think they pretty much have to take wide receiver there. For the Chargers, I am going to go ahead and have them take... call me crazy here. I'm sure you guys probably will anyways. I'm going to have them take Walter Nolan, actually, out of Mississippi. He is a phenomenal player. Another guy that the Senior Bowl did a lot of good for. I think he's going to... Honestly, I don't know that he even falls to 22. Again, he's another guy that will probably get drafted more in, like, the teens. But here's the thing with that is all these players rising their stock so much. That's why you see players like Tyler Booker and Josh Simmons, fall. I mean, even Benjamin Morrison, like, he could be one that gets drafted in the teens. Jahad Campbell, I've seen drafted as high as 19. These guys who are raising their stock, like, it's going to result in some of these other really good players falling, I will say, for the Green Bay Packers here, though, speaking of Benjamin Morrison, I think this is a perfect spot for him to go, the Green Bay Packers. I don't think Packers fans should have any issue with that whatsoever. For the Vikings here, I'm going to have them take Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. Another absolute beast right there. I mean, there are some really good defensive linemen in this draft. Like, it is deep. Um, and Kenneth Grant's just an absolute beast right there. For the Texans, I'm going to have them take Tyler Booker, which makes too much sense. I told you earlier, he's an absolute mauler. Fantastic guard. I don't think people are giving him really the credit he truly deserves right here. For the Rams, I think. So I don't know. I've had some Rams fans, tell me, no, we do not want to tackle. Let's wait till later rounds. We think our O line is good enough right now. For me, I think it'd make more sense to have, like Josh Simmons, from Ohio State go. He's a phenomenal tackle. But, I mean, with losing Cooper Kupp, you're really down to only one really good wide receiver in Puka. So, I mean, taking a swing on Matthew Golden honestly would make a lot of sense. So I am going to have them do that. For the Ravens, I'm going to go ahead and have them take Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. Another guy that I think he'll get taken more in like the early 20s, maybe even into like the late teens as well. But he's kind of another one that may fall a little bit as a result of other players simply just raising their stock so much. I think really across the board, this draft just has a lot more talent than we've seen many other years. Like, there's some real good players in this draft. For the Detroit Lions, I'm going to go ahead and have them take Jack Sawyer. I think this is 3 straight mock drafts now that I have had them take Jack Sawyer. I think it just feels like a really good fit at this point. Really easy pick to make. For the Commanders, normally right here is where I'd take Matthew Golden. Well, he's off the board now. So, I think right here, honestly, I think we probably take Nick Scorton. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and have them take Nick Scorton out of Texas A&M. Maybe explore like a trade back if anybody's really trying to come up. I did mention earlier, actually, the Giants may want to, look at a potential trade up for, Jackson Dart. That is a divisional trade, and we don't see those super often, so I don't think that's going to be super likely. I do think right here we could definitely see the Bills, try to trade back right here. So I am going to go ahead and have the Giants come up for Jackson Dart. And really the only team right here that I think they really need to be worried about is the Cleveland Browns. And honestly, like, I don't think it'd be a bad idea at all if... Why did I actually click on the Browns? I don't think it'd be a bad idea at all if the Browns actually took Jackson Dart right there. But I feel like the Giants are going to be aware of that and be more aggressive in it. Plus, in coming up and getting him right here, that gives you the, availability to, have that 5th-year option sort of thing. So, giving them the later of their 4th-round picks right here, I think that's probably going to be plenty. I mean, you look at something like last year, the Bills and Panthers swapped pick 30. Well, it would have been the last pick of the draft. Was it last year that there were only 31 picks, though? Because was it the Dolphins that had to forfeit theirs? I think it was the Dolphins that had to forfeit their 1st-round pick. Anyways, I feel like it was last year there were only 31 picks in the first round. Um, Buffalo had traded down into the second round so the Panthers could come up into the first so that they could get the fifth year option on Xavier Leggett. Um, I could see the Bills, doing that again, just recouping as many extra picks as possible cuz I think there's still going to be plenty of guys right there that Buffalo would want to take. Um, and again, Giants don't want to wait and risk the Browns taking Dart right here. So Giants do get Dart. The Kansas City Chiefs absolutely need offensive line. I'm going to go ahead and have them take Armand Membu right here. I think that's pretty ideal range for him to go right there at 31. For the Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champs, I'm going to go ahead and have them take linebacker Jahad Campbell. And this is, again, I've mentioned before, very similar type of player to uh, Jalen Walker. Again, a little bit better in pass coverage. Not quite as good at rushing the passer, but still pretty dang good. I think they're pretty even in run stopping. Really, another comparison that I would actually throw for both Campbell and Walker actually happens to be a Philadelphia Eagle in Zach Bond. I think I think they're very similar players, and I mean, look, I don't know if the Eagles are going to be able to re-sign Bond or if he's going to be gone in free agency. Whether he's back or not, why not get a second one right there and just have a really fun, really talented group of linebackers right there on an already insane defense? I think that'd be an awesome pick. For the Cleveland Browns right here, I mentioned before they're going to be keeping an eye out for Jackson Dart. He's gone now, so Jalen Milroe would be the best available. I don't think I don't think they'd want to take him at 33. I think that's way too rich. I'm going to go ahead and actually have them take cornerback Jahdae Barron instead. And I think that's a great pick. For the Buffalo Bills, now there's two guys I'm eyeing right here, and that's Nick Emenwari and Derek Harmon. Now I've seen certain mock drafts that Nick Emenwari falls clear into like the mid third round. I don't get it. There's no shot he's falling that far. Another guy that the combine is going to do a lot of good for. I've had him go to the Bills at 30 in the first round before, and I do think there's a very realistic possibility he lands in the first round. I think this would be a great pick. I think it's definitely got to be between him and Derek Harmon. You could also probably throw Tyleik Williams in there. If you're looking more on the offensive line sort of thing, Gray Zabel is an absolute beast. He also rose his stock quite a bit with the Senior Bowl. I think right here, I'm going to go Nick Emenwari. He's another one of just my guys in the draft, and I think he'd be great with the Buffalo Bills right here. I really do. For the Titans, I think I'm going to go ahead and have them take Gray Zabel right here. Really, Zabel can honestly play guard or tackle and be really good at either spot. Titans do need tackle more than guard, so they could probably try him out right there. Either way, he's just a phenomenal offensive lineman, and he's going to help the Titans significantly right there. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, obviously they missed out on a Mason Graham in the first round because of that trade back. Right here, they go ahead and land Derek Harmon out of Oregon. Definitely very good, like backup prize. For the Raiders, right here, I'm gonna go ahead and get their next running back in Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State. I definitely think Pete Carroll would love to get, a real stud, very good running back in this draft. Honestly, I've mentioned before that Ashton Genty could be a very real option for them in the first round. But I don't know. We know how Pete Carroll really loves, you know, very talented running backs, and Judkins is an absolute beast. So, Patriots on the board here. I'm going to go ahead and have them take offensive tackle Josh Connerly. I did mention for the Bears in the first round when taking Ashton Genty, maybe a guy like Connerly falls to them. He's gone in the pick right before him. But there are some very good, you know, guys they could take here instead. Both Donovan Jackson and Ariante Ursery. I do think they need tackle better or more than interior O lineman. Cam Williams is also another very good tackle. I think we go ahead and take Ariante Ursery. I think he makes the most sense right here. For the Saints, I'm gonna go ahead and have them take Donovan Jackson. I mean, they definitely need O line altogether. Best interior O lineman available. Bears back on the clock right here. I'm gonna have them take Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State. Jets up on the board right now. And Jets fans may either love or hate me for this. I'm going to go ahead and give them Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. Because obviously they desperately need a quarterback now with moving on from Aaron Rodgers. Milroe is the best available option right there. I think that's a pretty solid option right there. I really do. For the 49ers, I am going to go ahead and actually give them. Let's see. I'm debating between Cam Williams and Jonah Savinea. I think I'm going to give them Jonah Savinea. I think he's probably going to be the better pick there. Yeah, I'm going to give him Savinea there. For the Cowboys, so they took Omarion Hampton in the first round. I'm going to give him Donovan Izuraku. Sorry, I can't pronounce his name to save my life here. Out of Boston College, very very good edge rusher. Could definitely help them out. For the Colts, I'm gonna have them take Azarie Thomas. I actually have him graded a little bit higher than Siobhan Revel right now, so makes a lot of sense right there. For the Atlanta Falcons, I'm actually going to go ahead and give them wide receiver Trey Harris out of Mississippi. I love this guy. I think he has a phenomenal catch radius, very solid route runner, really good at creating separation. Like, he could definitely be a real solid weapon for Penix. For the Cardinals, right here, I'm going to go ahead and give them JT Tuimalu. Sorry, Tumalau. I, 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 I never know the right pronunciation for his name. I believe I was actually corrected that it should be Tumalau, but I don't know. I haven't really dug that deep into what it really should be. For the Dolphins, I'm going to go ahead and have them take Cam Williams right here out of Texas. And the Bengals on the board now. I think right here, would probably be a good spot for them to land Siobhan Revel out of East Carolina. Um, I think they could definitely also look at a guy like Deone Walker from Kentucky. Um, but I think they could definitely use some corner help right there too. So taking Revel, I think he's probably the best available player at that spot. For the Seahawks, I'm gonna go ahead and have them take Princely Umanmielen from Mississippi. There's some, sorry, from Ole Miss. There's some very, very, very good, like, second round picks available from Ole Miss right here. I find it kind of hilarious, actually. Like, you don't really see many guys right here that are probably going to go in the first round, but a lot of very good Ole Miss players in the second round. I, I just find it funny. Um, for the Denver Broncos right here, I'm going to go ahead and have them take running back. I'm going to have them take Travion Henderson. However, Caleb Johnson really would not be a bad option at all either. Um, but speaking of Caleb Johnson, that is where I'm going to have the Steelers take him. Another phenomenal running back right there. Um, Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the board, and I'm going to go ahead and give them. I think we go ahead and actually give them Trey Amos out of Ole Miss. Packers on the board now, and I believe they're gonna be in the market for another really good wide receiver, and I actually really really like Isaiah Bond. Where Jordan Love has a really good deep ball, and Isaiah Bond happens to be a really good deep threat. This kind of just seems like a match made in heaven right here. Now, I think Isaiah Bond is a better route runner than some of the other deep threats that Green Bay has. I mean, I know some fans will, draw the comparison there to Christian Watson right there. I think Bond is the better route runner. I think he has better hands. Um, and really, kind of one of the knocks with Christian Watson right now is he's had some injury history. Um, it seems like every single time during the season that I'd, go and look for him and stuff, he'd be injured. Isaiah Bond would definitely be a good replacement there. Um, for the Chargers, I'm going to go ahead and have them. I don't know that I want to take Cam Scatabo right here. They may be able to get him at 86, or even like maybe trade up a little bit higher than 86 to get him. Um, or even if not, like Ollie Gordon is also a good player to take in the third round. I don't want to reach on Scatabo right here in the second. I think instead, I'm actually going to have them take Alec Aomanor. Um, I, I probably pronounced that very wrong again. Some of these draft picks' names are impossible for me to pronounce, but for the Bills, I'm going to go ahead and have them take Landon Jackson out of Arkansas. And then for the Panthers, I'm having them take Deone Walker out of Kentucky. Um, big body defensive lineman, next to Derek Brown. I think that'll help their run defense quite a bit. So then for the Texans, I'm going to go ahead and actually have them take the next best D lineman available in Alfred Collins out of Texas. Um, he actually. Now, I'm not going to claim he's, like, going to be on the level of Derek Brown, but he's actually the exact same size that Derek Brown was listed as coming out of college at 6'5", 320, and really good at eating up blocks. Solid block shedder as well. Good at getting in the backfield and, just mauling the run. And I think that's going to be really good for the Texans right there. So, Ravens on the board now, and I'm going to go ahead and have them take Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky. Detroit Lions on the board, and I think, let's see. I'm honestly not entirely sure who to have them take right here. Um, man, I really don't know. Who's the best available corner? I do like Denzel Burke. I really do. Big fan of Denzel Burke. Honestly, I think 92 is a very disrespectful rating for him. Um, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna have the Lions take Denzel Burke. I think he is a phenomenal corner, and 92 is a very disrespectful ranking for him right there. For the Commanders right here, though, obviously they missed out on Matthew Golden in the first. So instead, they go ahead and get Jalen Royals out of Utah State right here. Buffalo on the board. And I'm going to give them TJ Sanders out of South Carolina. I thought about giving them Deone Walker with pick 56, but thought, why not just give them Landon Jackson, good edge rusher right there. And then there should be some really solid D tackles available with pick 62. And sure enough, there was. TJ Sanders is a great defensive tackle and, should help that Buffalo D line quite a bit. Kansas City on the board now. I'm going to go ahead and actually I'm going to give them Tate Ratledge, actually. I'm a little bit higher on him than I am Marcus Embo. Marcus Embo's not bad, don't get me wrong. But, I personally like Tate Ratledge a little bit more. Which actually, I think that's actually where I'm going to have the Eagles take him. Get some interior O-line help. Giants are up now, and I'm going to go ahead and give them offensive tackle Wyatt Millum. Get some O-line help for Jackson Dart right there. Chiefs back on the board. And I think, call me crazy here. This could potentially be Travis Kelce's last year. We may not see him next year. Or even if we do, next year would probably be his last. I'm going to give them tight end Elijah Arroyo. He had a very, very, very good Senior Bowl. And really, in a really deep tight end class like that, I think the Chiefs would be really stupid not to go and try to get their replacement there. For the Browns, I mentioned earlier, maybe see if Jalen Milroe's here. Obviously, he's not, so I'm going to go ahead and have them take Quinn Ewers instead out of Texas. I think that's a very, very solid replacement right there. Raiders on the board now. I'm going to actually have them take Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame. I think there's a very realistic shot they lose Trayvon Merrick in free agency. And Xavier Watts is a real good replacement there. Patriots are up. And I'm going to go ahead and give them... Let's see. I'm going to give them Carson Schwessinger. Jags on the board. And I think... Let's see. Ooh, I am going to give them Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State. I'm going to be honest, I really wanted him to fall to the Panthers here at pick 74. He goes just a few picks too early. Higgins is a beast. Very, very good. Hands, very solid route runner. Big type of like possession type of receiver. You're not going to usually be getting a lot after the catch with him, but really solid possession receiver. Saints up right now, and I'm going to go ahead and give them, let's see. None of those quarterbacks are really going to be worth taking right here. Maybe at like their other third rounder, pick 93, maybe Dylan Gabriel. Maybe see the Saints want to get their next quarterback, but 71's a little too rich for me still. I think right here, I think we actually go with Jared Ivey out of Ole Miss. Yeah, let's go Jared Ivey. Chicago Bears on the board, and I think we actually take another edge right here in Kyle Kennard out of South Carolina. I think that's shaping up to be a really good draft for the Bears. I think that's a very, very solid group of draft picks there. For the Raiders here, I'm going to have them take Omar Norman Lott out of Tennessee. And then for the Carolina Panthers, I think we look at... I don't know that I love Josiah Stewart right here. Ooh, I am a massive fan of Andrew Makuba. I really like Makuba a lot. Yeah, I think he's got to be the pick right there, 100%. For the Raiders, I'm going to go ahead and give them... Let's see. They haven't gotten a corner yet. Let's give them Darian Porter out of Iowa State. I think Pete Carroll would definitely like to get a real solid corner for them. Dallas Cowboys up now, and I'm kind of thinking about potentially getting them a tight end right here in Mason Taylor, because I really like Mason Taylor. But also, like, they don't really need tight end. You know what? I'm actually going to give them Jack Beck out of TCU. He also had a very good Senior Bowl. Combine's probably going to help him quite a bit. Patriots up. I think right here is where we give them Josiah Stewart out of Michigan. Cardinals back up on the board. And I'm going to go ahead and give them... Let's see. Ooh, I'm going to give them Tez Johnson, actually, out of Oregon. Really like Tez Johnson. Very, very, very small receiver. But he is so good after the catch. So fast and shifty. I think he's going to be really fun in the Cardinals system. Commanders up now, and with Zach Ertz, you know, getting as old as he is, I'm going to go ahead and give them Harold Fannin out of Bowling Green. Now, Colts up now. They did get their tight end earlier, so Mason Taylor wouldn't make a lot of sense right here. I think we go... with... Do we go Savion Williams? I think we go Savion Williams right here. Yeah. For the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm going to go ahead and give them Darius Alexander out of Toledo. Seattle up now, and I'm going to go ahead and give them. Uh, how low do they have him? They have him ranked 142. Okay, that's kind of criminal. It's probably going to give me a really bad grade here, but I don't care. I think Lander Barton is a fantastic linebacker. I think he'd help the Seahawks significantly. Yeah, they gave me a D plus for that. I think that's the worst grade I've gotten in this draft. I like Lander Barton. Seahawks fans, before you criticize that pick, please go watch his tape and then let me know if you like it or not. I think he's a fantastic linebacker. Honestly, I think he should be in this range with Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight. Um, I think that's a very, very awful ranking for them. Steelers up now. I'm gonna go ahead and give them Shamar Turner out of Texas A&M. Bucks on the board now, and I think right here is probably where we go wide receiver. We'll go Xavier Restrepo out of Miami. That's another A plus for the Bucks. Broncos finally get to get their tight end right here with Mason Taylor out of LSU. Chargers up now, and hey, I mentioned it before. Let's go get Cam Scatabo out of Arizona State. He fell to them at 86. They were patient right there, and there you go. Packers on the board, and I think we go ahead and go. I think we're gonna go with Emory Jones right here. Maybe you think about Jordan Birch there instead. I don't know that I quite like him quite that high. I think you got to take him like end of the third or even into the fourth personally. Jags on the board now, and it's true there's some good linebackers available right here, but they really don't need more linebacker help. But also, I mean, actually, Kevin Winston's available right here. I think that's actually a really solid spot to get him. So, yeah, we'll go Kevin Winston there for the Jags. Texans on the board now, and I'm going to go ahead and have them take. I'm going to have them take edge rusher Braden Swinson out of LSU. I saw a PFF mock draft actually, having Swinson fall to the 5th round, and I was like, there is no shot he falls to the 5th round. Like, he's like a mid 3rd rounder, maybe even as high as a late 2nd rounder. Honestly, I think PFF is crazy for having him go in the 5th. Honestly, we could have him go as high as like pick 70 realistically. In fact, he's a guy I actually thought about for the Panthers there at 74. Rams on the board. I'm gonna have them take Barrett Carter. Not even thinking about it. I think that's a home run pick right there. Ravens on the board. I think I did mention having Jordan Birch very end of the 3rd round. I think this is close enough to the end of the 3rd. I mean, only 5 more picks after. I think Jordan Birch makes some sense right here for the Ravens. So, Jets on the board now, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get Jalen Milroe, a fun tight end to throw to, in Gunnar Helm out of Texas. Saints on the board now. Still haven't gotten them a wide receiver, actually. We did get them Tyler Warren, which helps. But I'm going to go ahead and give them Jalen Noel out of Iowa State. Browns on the board, if it'll load. There we go. And I think we go... I'm going to be honest, I actually really, really like Demetrius Knight to the Browns. I think that's a really, really fun fit. So, yeah, Demetrius Knight to the Cleveland Browns right there. Kansas City Chiefs up, and I think we go... You know what? I think it is very, very safe to say they just really desperately need more O-line help. Why not get some extra depth in there too? I'm going to have them take Anthony Belton out of NC State. I think it makes a lot of sense. Eagles on the board here, and I think we go... I think right about here is kind of where we start getting into the range that I don't know a whole lot about some of these prospects. Maybe Ashton Gillett right here, or Gillett. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I mean, it says it fills a need right here. Yeah, I think right here's probably around the range that I don't know a lot of these prospects. I'm going to go right here because it fills a need. Why not? For the Minnesota Vikings, honestly, I kind of do like Ollie Gordon right there. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think there's a shot they don't bring back Aaron Jones. So then at that point, I don't really see them going after a guy like that. I'm going to go ahead and actually have the Minnesota Vikings go get Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon. Wait. No. I'm not going to do that, actually. I totally forgot they got J.J. McCarthy last year. Totally forgot he existed. So, no, I'm not going to give them Dylan Gabriel, because that would be a stupid pick. Instead, I am going to give them... I'm going to give them Chris Paul Jr. out of Mississippi right there, or out of Ole Miss. Ole Miss, Mississippi, it's the same thing. Miami on the board here. I'm going to go ahead with Jared Wilson out of Georgia. Says another A-plus pick. And 49ers on the board. Got Mason Graham and Jonas Avainea earlier. I think right here we go... I think we go Ozzie Trapillo. He is actually one of the few guys here I actually do recognize the name on here, and I think that'd help the Niners quite a bit. Rams, I mean, I was mentioning earlier, they really need some offensive line help. Why not go with Ernest Green right here? Don't know his name super well, so ignore that, but they need offensive line help. I think it makes some sense. Last pick of the third round, and we're going to have the Detroit Lions take their future replacement for Jared Goff, Dylan Gabriel. Now, I'm going to defend that pick. It's going to be with something that not a lot of people are going to agree with. I think Jared Goff is kind of getting into the point that maybe he's a little overrated in a way. I've seen a lot of people having him ranked, even as high as top 5. A lot of people ranked like top 7, top 8. I say he's as elite of a game manager as possible. So if everything around him is going well, he can get you the win. All right? But you saw in situations like the Commanders game in the playoffs, um, there were some injuries around there, and I think he was one of the main reasons they lost to the Commanders right there. That pick six he threw to, was it Sainristil still? I think it might have been Mike Sainristil still that got the pick six. I could be wrong on that. I don't remember who he threw it to. But he did throw multiple interceptions that game. I think he was one of the biggest reasons they did lose that game. Now look, I like Jared Goff. He's by no means a bad quarterback. He is still a top half of the league guy, and is still going to be starting for, at least the next, 2-3 years, unless the Lions have a generational fall off, which I don't think they will. But Jared Goff just isn't that type of quarterback that's going to, carry you to the next level, He needs a good team around him, and then he'll kind of go with you guys to that next level, So, yeah, I'm having them take Dylan Gabriel right here to be the long-term future replacement for Goff, not specifically a 2025 replacement, not even necessarily a 2026 replacement. Just long-term, when they see that, hey, maybe Goff isn't the right guy at this point, Because Dylan Gabriel is good. He just needs some development. I think this is a perfect situation for him right here. So, hope Lions fans aren't too angry about that pick. I think it makes sense to me. But let me know what you think of this mock draft in the comment section below. Again, guys, make sure to smash that like button. We are super, super close to 1,600 subscribers. So if you could help me reach that, that'd be super appreciated. But if not, have a great day, and I will see you guys next time. Later.